Welcome to Thursday Night Knives. Coming up, we're going to take a look at some exotic weapons that I'm reunited with. And we're also going to show off what our brand new uh, knife giveaway is this month for Gentlemen Junkies. And then we're going to talk about all I want for Christmas is, and you fill in the blank. I have a bunch of blanks I could fill that in with. God, I am just obsessively spending my free time looking at knives online, man. I just can't stop. And that's where I go down rabbit holes. I mean, like anybody else, I go down my YouTube rabbit holes, but they dead end much quicker than my knife rabbit holes when I'm just looking at things, looking at Bowies lately. Lots and lots of Bowies, lots of fixed blades lately. Have a nice day. Speaking of fixed blades, how you doing, sir? Good to have you with me. With us, I wanted to, I want to get my brother a Mac V SOG from the Only SOG website, and I'm curious about how to go about that. Actually, I guess I got to email the guy. Dion, good to see you here, sir. Is my CPM 3V SRK from Cold Steel birthday knife I ordered in September to get here? Why? Oh, the quest to gain this blade has been wrought with turmoil and deception, but the righteous will prevail. Dion, what's going on? Has it been a slow rollout with their 3V? Byron, I loved your comment about the War Club. There will be more on that come next week. Howdy, Bob. Jim Junkie C says, great podcast with Zach Wingard this Sunday. I wish I were Santa. War clubs and dick pics for all. You know, he's got a whole new batch of those of dick pics in. Still feels weird for me to say. Uh, and there is the micro dick pic, which is the one that I want, actually. Never Enough Knives 007. Happy holidays, junkies, he says. Well, it's official. You can say it now. Happy holidays to you, sir. Mike, yeah, good to have you here, Mike. Hi, Bob, Jim, and fellow junkies. Good vibes. Good vibes. Yes, indeed. Good vibes, sir. Dry mouth. Good vibes. Chris, good to have you here. Blade Ogre, hello all, with his 9 knives. He is going up. Stephen Reardon. I was just thinking of Reardon Metal from Atlas Shrugged. Someone mentioned Atlas Shrugged. Hello, junkies. First show. Hey, good to have you here, Stephen. Welcome. We're going to look at some cool knives tonight and talk about them. Ketmuk Nessard, good evening, Bob. Good evening, junkies. Ketmuk, good to have you here. Ketmuk, I've been looking at the Black Mule Bowie. You know what that is? That's the $25 Rough Rider version of the Bark River knives. Shining Mountain Bowie. The handle is loose, but it's got a full tang. I mean, all the way full tang. So I'm going to give it the treatment. I think I'm going to do, I've mentioned this before, but I'm thinking about it even more. See, I don't have time for all these projects, but I want to turn that into my very own, what's the character's name from Inglorious Bastards. I want a crown piece of stag there. 9198 David. Hi, everyone, he says. Hi, 9198 David. Good to have you here with us, as always, sir. This I had out just for focusing the camera and such. But man, what a great knife this is. This is the Randall number 16 SPF, that's Special Fighter. It's got the Randall number 17, the classic fighter blade on it, but it's got the number 16 handle. The number 16, similar to the number 14, has the grooved handles, but the 16 is the diver's knife. So usually the blade is a spear point with serrations. That's why this is called the Special Fighter, because it's special. Came out a couple of years ago, and I got it through Knife Center. Keep your eyes on Knife Center if you like Randall made knives. You don't have to wait 5 years. They get a little stock of them, and you can just buy them right from them. That's what I did with both of mine. We were talking about Wingard wearables. I guess I should show you this. Why hold out? But this is the new thumper from Wingard Wearables. And when I did my last interview with Zach, I hadn't received this yet. And but it was received while we were gone for Thanksgiving. So when we got back, I had to pester our neighbors until I could get my hands on this box. Such a cool thumper this thing is. Whoa, geez, I'm gonna take down the mic stand with this Randall made knife. So that is the thumper based on Northeast Woodland Ball War Club. So you can see from the side here where that ball would be, but when you turn it sideways, as my wife is fond of saying, when she's poking fun, turn it sideways, Bob. You know what to do with it then. But when you turn it sideways, it's nice and flat, but still wider here than it is at the base of the handle. So you have extra weight up front, but you really focus the power with this steel rod that goes all the way back to about here, seated way deep in there with resin. And I think it's burned in there too. But the edge all the way around is super sharp. And what this does, yeah, it does puncture when you hit, but what it really does is grab into whatever you're hitting and transfers all of that power from your swing and from the head of this war club into whatever you're hitting. Instead of glancing off, it will bite in. You'll notice that a lot of what do you call it? Warhammers from the Middle Ages have that sort of meat tenderizer knurling on the hammer pole. That was so that it didn't glance off the helmet when they were hitting people on the head with those warhammers. What a cool weapon the warhammer was, I think. So that's the Wingard wearables thumper war club. Brandon Sutton, good to have you here, Brandon. Dude, your avatar is pretty freaky looking. Jay McConnell, good to have you here. Evening all, he says. Well, good evening to you, Jay McConnell. Any war clubs in your war chest? Kep McNessard says that thumper is sweet. Dude, it is sweet. And unlike the other Wingard wearable productions, I have all the tomahawks and this quill. But unlike all of those other things, he pretty much does this. He has them rough CNC'd, and then he does all the finishing work and puts this, does all that and files them and burns them and oils them and finishes them. Can I see? Yeah, thank you, Jim. Byron says these junkies probably know, but Bark River Knives Shining Mountain Bowies are. I didn't know that are back in stock with DLT and Knives Ships Free. Use the Knife Junkie affiliate. You rock. Link to Knives Ship Free. That is really cool, Byron. Thank you. I did not know that, but I think on Sunday when we record the Wednesday show, I'll see that liner. That's how I always know what the weekly specials are. But I did not know the Shining Mountain Bowies are back in. It's going to be hard to resist buying another one, but why in the world do I need to buy another Shining Mountain Bowie? I don't. Nick EDC, good to see you here, sir. Hey, Bob, Jim, and the Knife Gang. Good to have you and your wise owl with us. One thing I also want to show off here is this end. Like many a war club, has like a chisel tip. And this is hickory. So this wood is dense and heavy, like a baseball bat or an axe handle. So that wedge is a nasty little bit of surprise if you overswing and you need to use it that way. Aragon, good to have you here, sir. A guy robbed me with a knife today. Holy mackerel. Yikes. I'm sorry. I shouldn't say holy schmackerel. That's awful. I am sorry to hear that. A guy robbed me with a knife today. Yikes. Luckily, he only took $50 and wasn't keen enough to stab me. Jeez, man, that's awful. I'm sorry to hear that. $50 is $50, but it's also just an incredible violation. My apologies to you, sir. Well, not apologies, but my heart goes out to you. That's a scary thing. That's a scary thing to happen. Well, all that being said, I think it's time for a pocket check. So today in my front right pocket, I had this QSP Penguin Plus. I received this from the company a little while back, and I really like it. It is a full titanium frame lock, but very slender, pretty light. These slabs are, like I said, slender, so they have no weight relief and don't need them. It's got incredible action. It's got 20 CV blade steel, which is such a nice upgrade for this knife, which is already a great knife with D2 or 14C, like I have it in the other iterations. And it is no way. Yeah, 3.5 inches. They say it's 3.4. To me, it's more like 3.5 or 6 when I measured it last with my other device. Um, I like this a lot. Today was my first time carrying it all day long as my primary knife. And I have to say, I did not feel under-knived. Of course, I had a lot of other options on me, but usually I like my front right pocket carry to be something that I really, love to carry. Will be good to have you here, sir. Hey, Jim, Bob, and everyone, he says. Well, good to have you here. I wonder what you were carrying. I bet it was a Norseman. I'm just going out on a limb because you've been carrying that recently. You're a Norseman, along with other cool stuff. All right. Also with me today, the Orion Scorpio. I love this little knife. It contrasted beautifully with the large folder I carried today, which I'll show in a second. But this David Cam design is really awesome. And it reminds me, in handle and in everything but blade, it's very much like a small version of the Solaris, different blade shape. I really like the audacity of this clip point. I like the overall profile of it, but then you add that fuller and the jimping up front. It's really great. And when I was talking to David about this, he put that jimping there so that when you're cutting into boxes, you can keep your finger at a certain depth, whatever depth you'd like. Say you're going into a box, a pillow box, and you don't want to cut the damn pillow open. So you just put it in just a little bit, but you use that jimping to keep your finger in that distance constant. Very great, very cool blade. Nice looking, interesting looking, also with a purpose. Great button lock. This is one of the few button locks I have now since I gave my brother my Kaiser XL Big Lighter over Thanksgiving because he had to go to the hospital like that, and he didn't have a knife. And, I gave it to him, and so it was his, and I wanted it to help him heal, and it did indeed. Gaston, good to have you here, sir. Hello, knife junkies. Well, it's good to have you here, man. Got a lot of cool stuff on the table. Jay McConnell says, no Warhammers in my arsenal, but being in the Northeast, that interview got me thinking, I need to go find a maple growing out of a riverbank and make one. Yes, indeed, sir. That'd be very cool, actually. Talk to Byron about that. Byron did that when he was young and sent me a really cool picture of what he made. Still has it. Will be. I have my Grimsmo Norseman, Spyderco Manix 2XL, Kaiser Begleiter XL, Civivi Chevalier, and Axial Gear Alpine in Scout carry. I don't know what the Alpine is. I only know the Axial out the fronts, but very nice carry. You don't need me to tell you that, but very nice carry. Almar Orca. I was just looking at that knife on and Gerber Shard Multi-Tool. I was just looking at the Almar Orca on there's one for sale on Blade Forums just in the past couple of days. Blame Dexter. Good to have you here, Blame Dexter. What's a kraken, he says. Carried my new Ohio River Jack in titanium with sheep's foot blade. I keep telling myself I have to get one of those and check it out. I have to admit, my recent slip joints have all been my recent new slip joints have all been Jack Wolf knives. I do have to check out that Ohio River Jack. I have plenty. I have a good variety in my slip joint collection, but haven't gotten anything recently other than Jack Wolf knives. Blade Ogre. Okay, Chris, let's see what you got today. Carrying the Mech Force Blue Phantom. That is a cool knife. He sent me the specs to that, or like a sales sheet. The PMP Big Boy. All of their knives seem to be pretty darn big. The ZT0640 Emerson, beautiful knife. Spyderco Blue Spidey Chef, Benchmade Tagged Out. Spyderco Yo Jumbo in S90V, very nice. And this always makes me jealous. Burgundy Micarta EDC Adamas. The American Service Knife, that's by Medford Knives, and the Tops Interceptor. What is the Interceptor? Oh, the Interceptor. That's the 4-inch cat, right? The 4-inch cat, uh, the compact anti-terrorist knife. Yeah, I used to have the Interceptor in Tonto, and I sold that. Kind of wish I didn't, but I say that about every single knife I sell because I want them all back, every one of them. They all have a place here. Let me just show you what else I had on before we continue. Jesse Young says, "Hello, everyone. How's your night going?" Jesse, it's great to have you here, sir. My night's going great. I love Thursday. I love Thursday night knives. I've always had a fondness for the day, Thursday. It has all the promise of the weekend ahead, but still with a little bit of trial, which is Friday. But Friday is always pretty good. So always loved Thursday. Plus Friday, Saturday, those are amateur nights. It's all about Thursday. So here is my fixed blade carry. That's what we used to say when we lived in the city. The bridge and tunnel people come on Saturday. It's so lame. Let's stay in. This is my Hogtooth Ruffian, which I carry in the 3 o'clock position in the waistband and over the belt. I love the discreet carry concepts clips. They are the best, hands down, the best. Tops has been making some cool ones that I like, but they are a pain in the ass to get off. So these by far are the best, the discreet carry. And Hogtooth Knives, Matt Chase, he ships all of his EDC style knives with those. Otherwise, he makes beautiful, beautiful leather sheaths for the stuff he makes. But this is 154 cm hollow ground clip point blade with a long clip point. I love that sort of harpoon clip. Nice jimping here for the old thumb. Just a great blade. Feels so good in hand. This one is a true custom, meaning I was in his shop and chose the materials, as opposed to the other, the EDC Tonto I bought was already made. Great knife. That's about as large as I like to go in the waistband. I want to see if I can get this back in. This is the I used to carry this Scout style, but that didn't last for very long. This is the BlackRock Knives Monkey Thumper. Let's see. It's a little bit bigger in the handle and a heck of a lot pointier there. So so I don't know. Might be difficult to work this back in, but I'm going to give it a try. Last on me today, well, I have no. I don't need to justify to you guys. Last on me, but it was in my bag, of course, was the Cold Steel Espada XL. I just love this thing, and I watched a video, a couple of videos on it yesterday, and just reinvigorated my interest in this very thin, light, relatively speaking, G10 version. I've paid a lot of attention to my dressed up version recently, but this one is great. Both of mine, I'm lucky, have the hollow grind. So big deal. It's not S35VN. Doesn't matter. I don't need this to be S35VN. This is the AUS 8A. This is an earlier model. Still has the triad lock, a great edge. And, they heat treated their AUS 8 so well. These a whole generation of these knives, or 2 generations, proved themselves with AUS 8. So I love this thing. Had this with me today instead of a big Bowie, which I was thinking I should have on me for whatever reason. So what did you guys have on you today? Let me know. I'm going to let those sit there, and you can soak up their beauty while you start typing in what you're carrying. Do you carry a fixed blade? Just curious. There's been a lot of, I'd say a substantial movement to get people to carry small fixed blades. And I've always loved neck knives. Gorilla, good to have you here, Gorilla. But I noticed that you can just take a neck knife and drop it in the pocket. And it's just like having a, if you don't like it around here, it'll fit in your pocket just fine. Gorilla, good to have you here, sir. 80-20.5. I do love that. I pulled mine out and was fiddling with this before. AD 20.5, the Runt 5, very nice. And the ALOX Mini Champ, very nice carry. That's well-rounded. We like well-rounded. Will be. I am never more than 15 feet from my Norseman. Nice. That's hey man, you find the right knife, and that's that. Gaston says carried the SOG Terminus SXR in carbon fiber. That's a very nice knife. And since yesterday, I'm keeping the broken skull on my desk purely for emotional support. Gaston, I gotta say, the broken skull was probably, well, I don't know if I can actually say that, but I've had 2 of those pink broken skulls, and they've done substantial travel with me. That's why I got them, for cognitive dissonance if ever busted with it. Stupid. I'm not gonna do that again, I don't think. But anyway, I totally understand how you would get emotional support from that broken skull. So thin, so svelte, yet no reason not to have 4 inches of super steel on you at any moment. Byron says, today the Buck 102 Woodsman Fixie. Very nice. The off-grid all-day Necker. That's a usual for you. The Tempest Pinion. Very nice. And the American Buffalo Knife and Tool Stockman. I always say this, but I do have to check out an American Buffalo Knife and Tool. They had that flipper a few years ago that reminded me of a Buck 110 flipper. Mike, said the Shieldon Tor Tank. I don't know which one that is, Mike. We gave away a couple of Shieldons, and I have a couple of Shieldons over there for giveaway, donated generously to the channel by This Old Sword Blade Reviews, Dave, who has been on a custom fixed blade tear, man. He's gotten a couple of Cones Craft blades recently that are just, ooh, and plenty of other awesome knives too. Steve Reardon says, Victorinox Ranger from front right pocket. SC Azula 2, very nice. So here's a gentleman who does carry a fixed blade knife, EDC. SC Azula 2 horizontal carry with armatus sheath. Is that leather or is that Kydex? I carry in Kydex. I wish I could carry in leather. There are a few exceptions. Well, one exception. I have carried, have and do carry DG Blade Co. Scalpel. He makes those cool Kydex-like leather sheaths, and it's stout enough to carry in the waistband without folding or compressing too much. But very nice carry, sir. Never Enough Knives 007 says, today was the Cold Steel Formax Scout. Very nice. A Rough Rider 2-blade folding hunter. Bark River Gunny EDC. I love the whole Gunny line. I had a Gunny and I got rid of it. Silly me. And the Swiss Army Knives Huntsman. Okay, very nice. Swiss Army Knife Huntsman. That Gunny I had. I just had the regular one. I always wanted the 2, but I got the regular one because it was available, and then I sold it, and I should have kept it. Kept McNessart says, today I carried a Bear Forest Knives GT EDC. Now, I've been checking out Bear Forest on your recommendation, and their Bowie knives are drool worthy. Giant Mouth. There's a Freudian slip for you. Giant Mouse Jutland, the Wesson Almond. Now, Wesson is like a James brand, right? Wesson is pretty hip, right? Jack Wolf Knives, Canine Jack, and a micro dick pic. I got to get me one of them. But Canine Jack, very nice. But the Wesson, I'm curious, Ketmuk, about this Wesson Almond. Like the Allman Brothers? Or, yeah. I mean, I don't know. They're just very cool. So I'm curious. Weston Probst, good to have you here, Weston. Carried the Petrified Fish Flavorist. I won from Big Red EDC a couple of weeks ago. Wow. That's a good name. That takes the cake. The Flavorist. Am I late to this party? I usually am. Have people been talking about that great name for a knife, the Flavorist? Or is that a typo? Because I fat finger it sometimes. Let me know. Because I cannot believe, well, man, the company is called Petrified Fish. So I guess anything should be expected. The Flavorist chief among them. 9198 David says, a rainy range day. Oh, a rainy range day with my Demco 8020. That's bonding. That's bonding time. Emerson CQC 10. Very nice. And Spyderco Dragonfly 2 today. That CQC 10 is cool. It's one of the few, like, that's the spear point, right? 4-inch spear point with a hole in the blade, right? One of the very few with a hole in the blade. I have the Super Karam, but that's got a hole in the blade too. Petrified fish. There it is. There's the flavorist. I got to say, that's a cool knife, man. They do make really cool knives. And look at this. Here is a modern front flipping liner lock of a spay blade. I love the spay blade, from traditional knives, from the other blade in the trapper, spay blade. You never see that. And that's what that is. People be all, they will say things like, oh, that's a modified reverse Tonto with a belly. And I'll say, that's called a spay blade. Wish we had some shorter way of saying reverse modified Tanto with a belly. We do. It's called spay, like cutting off an animal's testicles. Spay blade. CPM. Good to have you here, CPM. Custom Brian Nadeau, Evo Field Duty. Manaj. We have royalty. That sounds awesome, man. Brian Nadeau. I mean, Sharp Eye Design is awesome, but to have one of his custom pieces, that is really awesome. Shane, good to have you here, Shane. Carried my Mannix 2 in S110V today. It's always a pleasure to have Shane. And the Mannix 2 / Shaman debate, I know, is one that you've had. So that's always interesting. But S110V, so that's just hard as hell, right? Trevin, good to have you here. Trevin, 25 days of giveaways. Huh? 25 days of giveaways? Huh? Well, we will have at least 2 there. Nick EDCer, my mini Axon arrived today. Doesn't disappoint for a smaller Vero. Vero knives, very cool designs. I do like them. I don't, the Axon, that's a blunt tipped, right? Like that's like a cleaver-ish, modified cleaver. Jesse Young says, I wish I had more knives to carry or show. Well, Jesse, you will. First of all, I can tell from your picture you're young. When you become an old fart such as myself, you've accumulated a lot of them, especially if you don't sell many of them. But what you have when you take care of them and you strop them and you baby them, I shouldn't say baby. Sometimes I should say use. You use them, but you take care of them and they take care of you and all that. It doesn't matter the amount. That will present itself over time. I've seen this funny meme where it's a bunch of, it's like the Knights of the Round Table. Maybe you've seen this, and they're all touching swords in the middle of the round table. And on the top, it says, poor financial decisions. And then each knight has like knife collector, car collector, watch collector, pen collector, gun collector. And they're all gingerly touching the tips of their swords in the middle of the table. And it just occurred to me that collectors in general, especially guy collectors, because we like things so much, it can get you in trouble. So you're in that sweet spot right now where you don't have all the knives, but you have the potential. And sometimes that's good too. Trevin says, I carried my gold class Osborne like a complete idiot. That's funny. So a gold class Osborne is a super duper expensive Benchmade, right? Dressed up in all of the latest, I shouldn't say all the latest, but like all of the nicest, most luxurious knife materials. And let's face it, we deal in luxury items here, including this, War Club, which I don't need. Thank God. But these are luxury items. If we can spend money on a knife that we're not going to use, it doesn't matter whether it's 6 or 20 CV the way we use it, then we're talking luxury. Professor EDC, good to have you here. As I wax philosophical, he says, Bob, Jim, fellow junkies, hope everyone is doing well. I think we are. I know I am. Glad to be here. Well, I'm glad to have you. Today, I carried my custom knife factory, Sokashia, and of course, my cyborg jack. Such a nice knife, that cyborg jack, the Sokashia. I'm always asking which one that is, and I'm always being told, and I'm never remembering. Honey Bear 85, good to have you here, Honey Bear. Howdy, y'all, he says. And I think that's a fist bump and 2 beers. Well, fist bump and 2 beers to you, sir. Cheers. Good to have you. Chris says, the Tops Interceptor I bought from you. I am yeah, that's right. Yeah. You included, even included a custom sheath. That's the one that I made. Great knife. Well, I'm so glad I remembered what knife that was. Chris, I forgot I sold that to you, but I'm so glad it's staying in the extended knife family, sir. And I'm glad you carried that. I'm curious if the custom sheath I made ever comes in handy. The top sheath is hard to top. Jay McConnell says, today was the Arius and a Benny's clip. Very nice. That Benny's clip was the one I took on my Thanksgiving trip. It's probably it's definitely my favorite Jack Wolf knife for food. Jesse Young says, have a Benchmade mini Griptilian and a Spyderco Ambitious. Very nice. I like that whole line, the whole Spyderco line that the Ambitious comes out of, and a mini Griptilian. I mean, that is the Griptilian to get. I think that's the one that I have. I've always wanted to get the mini Griptilian with the Spidey hole and the hollow ground Warncliffe blade. I think that's a cool looking one. Gaston Garcia, and useful, of course. Gaston Garcia says, my new acquisition is a Bradford Guardian 3 M390 and beautiful micarta. Great small fixed blade. I was going to say, what do you think of it? So great small fixed blade. It's funny because the name Guardian elicits tactical, and you could use that knife tactically. But to me, that knife is more of a EDC camp knife even. But the regular drop point, spear point is definitely something you could grip in hand and use to defend yourself with great effectiveness. Trent Costello, good to have you here, Trent. My grandpa always said, if I got my pants on, I got my knife in my pocket. I love it. My grandpa always said, if I got my pants on, I got my knife in my pocket. That's so cool. We here, this is this is one of many, but this is one of the knives my grandpa gave me that got just used and used and used. But so many of us here have gotten our love of knives from our grandfathers, which I think is so cool. Mike, yeah, awesome. Thank you, sir. Sending you and family some Christmas cheer from Melbourne, Australia. How cool. So do I say Melbourne? Or I'll say it like a Yank, Melbourne, Australia. That's so cool. Thank you, Mike. I really appreciate it. Something worthy. I will use this right here for your salute. Oh, I know what I should use. All right, Mike. It wasn't Australia, but kind of close. Here is the, I'm going to salute you with my Von Temsky Bowie by Svord knives. And I can't remember the guy's first name, but Von Temsky had a group of rangers and settled New Zealand, or worked at settling New Zealand, taming it, I guess, for European interests. And this was the knife he carried. And it was so great as a hunting, camp, and killing knife that he had them made for each one of his rangers. And Svord is approximating that historic knife with this. This was a gift from my brother. Man, so many great gifts from my brother. We're both in our 50s now, and so we've had a lot of time to give each other cool gifts, and he has by far outpaced me in the cool gift department, and this is one of them. So this goes out to you, Mike. Thank you so much for that super chat. This is for you. All right. Thank you, sir. Thank you. And Mr. Von Temsky, well, I'll leave that to you all to look up. I'm not going to speak anymore. I'm not going to drop any more history bombs on you, because bomb is what I will do. But that's so cool that that all the way on the other side of this big giant ball we call Earth is someone watching and listening. I find that awesome. Shane, Mike, yeah, good job sending Bob a debt that exchange rate. Yeah, that's pretty good. Shane. Honey Bear 85 says transparent knives 80/20.5. Very nice. Steingraber Performance Knives Lamia and the Raylight Pineapple on me today. I think I even know which one that Raylight Pineapple is, and I'm not a light guy, but man, very nice carry. The transparent 80/20.5, so that's his regrind or maybe blade from scratch. And then, oh my gosh, man, very, very, very nice carry. Jesse Young says, I do have a knife addiction, but would like more though. Hey, Jesse, have you gone to, I don't know where you live, because where I live, it's very domesticated, and the Walmarts don't even, man, they make it very difficult to buy a knife at Walmart where I live, and there's no reason, but anyway, they do. But Jesse, you could go and spend $5 and get a Ozark trail knife. They're pretty good, man. I mean, for $5, they are remarkably good. And they have one with an Axis style lock these days. So you might want to check those out if you need some cheap thrills and just to like buy a knife. And I get that. I mean, I've gone to Walmart and bought a $3 bait knife just because I needed to get a knife. One I would like to get is an out the front. All right, so for out the front, what is it? Bladeworks, Edgeworks, Bladeworks. I think Bladeworks, WERX. I think Bladeworks. Someone help me here. There's a great site for inexpensive automatic knives where you can have your pick of the litter of inexpensive out the fronts. And I've had the Lightning out the front, and so have many, many, many of us. And it receives universal love for being a very good $35 out the front. So there are definitely things you can do. Brandon, thank you, Brandon Sutton. Almar Sportsman is Orca with no serrations. Okay. Oh, okay. That Orca has a beautiful, I love the recurve on that thing. Brandon, thank you very much, sir. Do I have a recurve on the table? I don't, but that's okay. I think I will use, right here. All right, Brandon, I want to thank you for that super chat. It is greatly appreciated. And I'm going to thank you and salute you with this 1917 Frontier Bowie by Cold Steel. One of my recent favorites, a recent acquisition, and man, a favorite. And you know what I love about this knife is that even though it doesn't have anything even approximating a sharpened swedge, the shape of this hook and where that tip is, it still gets a really good sort of back cut here. And well, for what that's worth, I like it. I think it's cool. And one of my favorite angles is this. What is it? I think we call it an angle 8, and it's kind of a sneaky one, and it comes up this way, and that curve fits nicely into that arc. Anyway, I ramble. Brandon, thank you so much, sir. That's for you, sir. Thank you very much for that super chat. Comes with a great sheath, also. Really awesome sheath. Eugene Krabs, hello, he says. Hello, Eugene. Good to have you joining us, sir. James Moore, always a pleasure. Greetings and salutations, he says. Carrie, today at work was the Civivi Altus. Very nice. The Raylight Lan Apple Light. Okay, so similar to the pineapple, I'm guessing. But when I got home, waiting for me was a new Koenig Arius with woven copper dust carbon fiber scales. Oh, congratulations, man. That's a nice package to come home to. That is pretty damn sweet. If you don't know, James Moore always has very nice knives that he's carrying. Very refined taste. Maybe not a junkie where he's got to just like have. He's got refined taste and gets some very nice pieces. I don't really consider any of my knives pieces per se. This is probably a piece, but yeah. So interesting. All the different types of collectors we get. Stephen Reardon says Kydex. Oh, Kydex. Okay, you were carrying in Kydex. I gotcha. Yeah. I mean, best way to carry. For me, if it's next to the skin, what was that last one from? Sorry, I love mine. He says, okay, cool. Gaston says, any tips on getting used to carrying a small fixed blade? I'm new at owning one like the Bradford. Well, I carry it in the waistband. For me, the Bradford is perfect because it's got a short and rounded off handle. Now, to me, the reason that's important is because I carry it vertically in my waistband, vertically or sometimes tilted, it just ends up being tilted forward a little. But this pokes into my lower ribs if it comes up too high. This for me is perfect. I can sit in the car, I can sit at my desk at work, I can do all sorts of stuff with this in my waistband, but much taller or sharper, and I'm going to start feeling that. That's why this is perfect. So the Bradford Guardian, I think you're in good shape. My tip is to try wearing it in the waistband and get one of these discreet carry clips. You can get them at Blade HQ. I know they sell them there. Except no, what do they say? Except no imitation. They're really, really good. Give that a try. I know the Bradford leather sheath comes set up for scout carry, and I know a lot of people like scout carry. I would if I could scout carry on the front. I don't like the idea of scout carry on the back because I don't like the idea of falling and hitting, landing on it or being on my back and trying to access it. But I do like that horizontal carry on the front. Jose Abdul Favela, good to have you here, sir. Mountain Predator by Stroop Knives arriving Monday. Very nice. I was just looking at his page today. I have the TU2, and I love that knife, and I love they have a sort of EDC Warncliffe sax that's really cool. Mark Ridgewell, good to have you here, Mark. Make Bowies great again. Yes, indeed. Mubga. That doesn't quite roll off the tongue, but I like it. Just sent my CRKT Ritual Black to get veft. I love how, if you guys don't watch Have a Knife Days channel, you should check it out. He's got a killer fixed blade collection and others, but I go to you for your fixed blades for sure. But he has a lot of his knives, especially ones that he has in duplicate, veft with those big veft serrations. So cool, man. Just nasty. But veft serrations on the Ritual, that's the Alan Foltz design super scimitar. Sounds like a great idea. Brandon says, check out the Omnivore Blade Works, Bob. Oh, excuse me. Check out Omnivore Blade Works, Bob. They have cool hawks, tontos, and bowies. Okay. All right. I'm going to have to remember that because, yeah. Let me write it on my computer because I don't have paper. Omnivore. Okay. Blade Works. Okay. All right. Ketmuk says, thank you for that tip. I will definitely look into them. Ketmuk says, I don't know much about Wesson as a brand. I just like the look of it. Sort of a folding Kephart in appearance. I think I saw it on Stasa first. Cool. Okay. All right. I'm trying to remember what that one looks like. Shane says, that button. Damn, man. That like button count is pretty sad, guys. Okay, you know what? I'm glad I'm not looking at it because I think I'd be ashamed and shocked. I think what Shane is trying to say is hit the like button. Hit it and hit it. Hit it, quit it, lick it, and split it. Hit it, split it, lick, and quit it. However it goes in the Parliament song. Or take your knife and hit it like that. But hit the like button. Why not? It's easy for you to do, and it helps out the channel. Come on, man. All right. Have a Knife Day says, I'm getting a custom Kydex sheath for my Buck 119. Love the Buck 119. Curiously fat handled Buck 119, but I think that's because it's a slick material. But that's just my thinking. And it's a hunting knife, so it might have blood and viscera on it. So you need something to hold on to. And if it's a slick material, maybe just a wider handle. Maybe that's why. I'm waiting on a custom 119 with the black Cerakote blade. Ooh, and brass accented hardware. That sounds really cool. I have not seen that. That sounds like the 119 is as tactical. Bob, I sold my shaman. Debate over. All right, so what about the debate on shaman? Because I know you say Bowie and I say Bowie. So what is it? Is it shaman or shaman? I'm not married to either. There's no like a geographic association with the pronunciation as far as I know. Shaman or shaman. I think if you're a hippie, maybe you say shaman, but I'm not sure. Let me know. James Moore says, agreed about Brian Nadeau. I'm lucky to have 2 of his customs. Also, several of his Riot made knives. I've handled one of his customs. That's Alex's arch nemesis. Wow. Yeah, I mean, that was just, like, otherworldly, and I've also handled a couple of his Riots, and those are also very, very, very nice, and that's an example where, great design, just adds to how awesome their manufacturing is, because we've all had knives from Riot that have been made really well that you're sort of like, "Ah, this design, doesn't quite do it." Flip Solo says, "Hello, Flip Solo, good to have you here." "Hey, everybody. Still with my subhuman piece of shit half face blade folder." I love that name. That is a good name. And those are cool. And there was a half face blade I was looking at on Blade Forums today. A little EDC. Mark Ridgewell, good to have you. Oh, I already greeted you, so I will just get right to your comment. Thinking about sending my shaman to BGM for a regrind. You just inspired me, Shane. That's a great idea. I have one knife regrounded by him, and man, he does a great job. No, I don't have anything reground by him. I just have one of his knives that he ground soup to nuts. Blade Ogre says, congrats on 10K subs. When did that happen? That must have just happened. Awesome. Thank you. And well, congratulations, Jim, to you and me. So that's awesome. Cool. 10,000 subs. That's awesome. They're going to send donuts. Let's see. So let me show you this. Actually, this is a cool thing that just came. Well, it didn't just come, came a couple of weeks ago. This is the QSP Locust, and we're giving this away. Big Jimpin. I love your name, Big Jimpin. Carried my new Grambo Rust today. Those knives are gorgeous. I love it. And if they make it even, is that Rus like Russian? If they make it even larger, it will be a moral obligation. Jock, good to have you here. Good evening. Jock, I've just was looking at your 2 knives or your 3 knives. I'm like, I got to send those because I went away for Thanksgiving and I came back and I got to send them. I'll send them out this weekend. I will. And I'll let you know. Yeah, he has been very generously loaning me that cool Emerson neck knife and the Spyderco. So check this out. This is the QSP Locust, courtesy of Dave, This Old Sword Blade Reviews. This is our Gentleman Junkie knife giveaway. This is like a very nice, sorry, that was my bad flip. Very nice QSP knife. Look at that design. And the body really does look eerily like a Locust. Even where this jimping is back here, which is a great place to have jimping, by the way, especially on a flipper. You've got this little upsweep that reminds me of the upsweep of the tail section or the thorax. What is that? This part. there are 3 sections. Remember the head, the abdomen, and the thorax. So this looks like the thorax, kind of creepily kind of curled up there. And then you get the segments that you got on the bug itself. And then that beautiful 4-inch blade. That is a really nice, well, nearly 4-inch blade. Beautiful Wharncliffe. I love how it's got a belt satin on the flat on the bevel, and then it's coated on the flats. It's VG10, awesome action, micarta, beautiful knife. We're going to give this away as our Gentleman Junkie knife giveaway for December. That's next week. So check that out. Oh, that water's so good. So, as I was preparing for the show, I was making my usual pot of 6 cups of coffee. That's the evening amount. And I dropped the damn carafe, broke my coffee carafe. So I had to dig out. I was like, my alternate, I have 2 alternate ways to make coffee at work that I never use. And I was really getting upset. And then, I remembered I had this old Italian stovetop espresso maker, so I made a couple of those, and they've really dried me out. So bully for me for finding that thing, but man alive, bunch of espresso. Dion says, "LOL, sword and tip touching just sounds bad. I don't care how you say it." Yeah, I was actually making a gentle reference to a classic movie from the modern age, from the 2000s. You may have seen it, called Role Models, one of my absolute favorites. I love that movie. And that's one of those movies that was, like, as far as I'm concerned, born on cable. Never heard of it when it was out, but my wife and I have seen it like 600 times. Probably never from the beginning to end completely, but it is a funny damn movie. And yeah, well, there's a scene where those words are said. Jock's Knife says, "Saw you gave the Ski and Do an appearance the other week. Lovely to see. It is a little beauty, and I love the woven look of the handle. Very nice milling and very nice finishing to the milling." Professor EDC says, congrats on 10K, Bob Jim. More than deserved. More than deserved. What, that 10,000 is more than we deserve? No, I know what you're saying. I'm just kidding. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it greatly. Caleb Townsend says, howdy. Caleb, good to have you here with us, sir, as always. Wonder what you're carrying. I think it's a butterfly knife. I carried the Emerson Elvia today. Such a great knife. That is an example of a great small knife that you feel totally confident carrying, even though it's diminutive in blade size. Jesse Young says, "Yeah, I have the mini Griptilian with the Spidey hole. Ooh, and love the sheep's foot style." That is the one. That's the one I would like to get if I were to get another Griptilian. I might even get the large size if I could find the hollow ground. Blade Ogre says, "The custom Kydex sheath for the Tops Interceptor comes in handy if I want to put the knife in my pocket because it's smaller without the belt clip." That's perfect. Okay, cool. So that's how I intended it. But then it was just too big for my pockets. I also intended it for in the waist carry, but I didn't have a grommet high enough to make sense for the mounting. That's always an issue for me when I make a sheath. Eugene Krabs says, "Have you seen the new Cold Steel Kukri in 3V?" Oh, yes, I have. I've seen I don't own it, but I've seen them all in 3V. And I got to say, they're very expensive. And I understand why. 3V is a very, it's an expensive steel, and it's very expensive to work. You go through a lot of expendables like belt wheels and abrasives and such. And I know it's a lot of time, and time is money and all that. But I don't need 3V because there certain knives, like if I'm to get another Trailmaster, which I want to, I love the Trailmaster. If I were to get another one, I would get it in 3V because that is a knife that I pound through logs regularly. And it's the old VG1, I think, or SK5. I can't remember what it is. It was one of the old Carbon V, I think, one of the very old ones. So it would make sense to get 3V, but and here's a segue to a new knife. For a knife like this, I don't need 3V. And we'll show this off in a second. After I address Jay McConnell's comment, does anyone else think the Cyborg Jack could use a more angular blade profile? Maybe a straight clipped swedge Tonto or something. Very interesting. You should say that. Let me pull this out. I got to say, when I first saw the Cyborg Jack unopened, I was expecting a Tonto just to match the handle. In terms of looks, that would be, I think it would look cool. I think you could make a Tonto work very well and it would look very cool, but I'm so used to loving this. And I really do think that this blade works well in this handle for an organic shape to fit in an inorganic angular shape. I think that works very well. But all that said, I totally hear you, because my immediate instinct was that I was going to see an angular blade when I saw the angular handle. Been carrying this one quite a bit as the new Jack Wolf knife, or the latest Jack Wolf knife, and I've just been loving it, loving the blade. But I say that about all of them. I do love them. I do love them so. That's what I sounded like to myself. I do love them. Have a Knife Day says, currently carrying the fixed Bastinelli Binome. Is that the small dagger, shovel-shaped dagger? That's so freaking cool. And an ADV Tactical Badlands Bowie. That's a cool, ADV has some cool knives, and I've just never gone down that path. Andre de Villiers, right? I think that's how you pronounce his name. Gaston says, the Bradford Guardian 3 seems to me like a simple and lightweight EDC knife, not tactical, seems to be made for simple everyday uses, comfortable and sharp as heck. Well, I mean, you've described a lot of very innocent knives. For instance, the Mora. However, the Mora is a great, knife for that purpose. Ed Calderon was on the Knife Junkie podcast a year and a half ago or something like that, and he was talking about his first blade show, or I don't know if this is his first, but a blade show. He went over to the Mora booth and told them how awesome their knives were as weapons, and they kind of didn't want to hear it. And he's like, no, they're really good. Like this Scandi edge and the thin blade and the cheap handle and the light and they're like, no, but these are made for woodcraft. He's like, yeah, but they're great for stabbing people. Never Enough Knives 007 says, I had to return the Cold Steel SR1 Tanto I bought as a Christmas gift from my brother-in-law. Issues with the lock bar. Oh, that sucks. I'm curious, Never Enough Knives, did you get that one from Amazon? Because Amazon Cold Steel purchases can be sketchy. I don't know why. I guess they sell their worst ones on Amazon. This I did not get on Amazon. This one I got from Smoky Mountain Knife Works. This is the new Natchez Bowie. It is not the 3V. I think 3V on the Natchez Bowie is unnecessary. I will say unnecessary. This is the 4034, which is maybe a little less steel than you could go a little better than that maybe. But I think to have 3V on this knife in particular doesn't make much sense. And I'll tell you why right after I address Mark Ridgewell's comment. Think Spyderco should come out with a different blade option for Mannix or some other knives with cage lock would be cool. That would be cool. I do like that cage lock. But to take it and put it in a different format would be pretty cool. So this knife is a fighting knife, and it's got a cable tang. That means the tang comes down to about here, kind of like the Laredo Bowie, and then it is soldered to a cable, which is soldered to a screw, and it's all tightened together with a cable. And that cable is dampens a lot of the shock from a knife like this. And a knife like this is big so that you might receive a lot of shock in that handle, especially it's not a rubberized handle. But all that being said, this is not going to be your camp Bowie. The camp Bowie is going to be the Trailmaster. It's going to be the SRK. Those are the ones that, to me, make more sense to spend the money and get the 3V where it really counts. This you're probably not ever going to use unless you're taking it out and just having fun with it, throwing it into trees and batoning. But this is not something you get to baton wood with at the campsite. First of all, it's, like I said, a cable tang, and though it's robust, and I've seen plenty of videos with this chewing up wood and getting pounded through logs, it's got a fully zero ground swedge. It's got a sharp swedge here, basically, and you would chew up your baton very quickly, and it's just not built for that. But the Trailmaster is, and the SRK is. Okay, I rest my case. Jesse Young says, I had a Mel Pardue 500 501 Benchmade for a year. Loved it, lost it. Would get another. I would get another, but they're discontinued. Keep your eyes peeled, man. Always keep your eyes peeled. Find your favorite spots on the secondary market and keep your eyes peeled. And maybe you actively seek one out somehow. Find collectors forums, Benchmade collectors forums, and kind of join the conversation and see if anyone has one that they're looking to get rid of, or that you can convince to get rid of. Nomadic Adventures, good to have you here, Nomadic. Not a folder fan for that reason. Almost lost a finger running low on limbs. Damn, man. So you had a lock fail on you sometime and nearly cut off your finger. Bob, need to check out Regiment Blades. Think you dig it. Okay, that's another one to write on the computer. Regiment. Yeah, I just lately it's been this fixed blade thing, man. I've been, and I'll tell you why this is nice. It's kind of a interesting, because the carrying of fixed blades, I'm very into fixed blades right now, and a lot of them I cannot carry on me, like that Natchez Bowie, but I can carry this on me, and I've been carrying them readily. I do that. When I do that, I allow myself to carry some of my smaller, interesting knives, like the QSP Penguin that I carried today, or the 20.5. I don't feel it so necessary to have a larger knife in my front right pocket when I'm in a fixed blade phase, and I got it bad. Right now. Max the Maker, good to have you here, Max. Part 1 for the last 4 days of T-Mobile store installation was my EDC Milwaukee Fastback used to open. Okay, so I have one of the Fastbacks. I have the one that's the Hawkbill. They have a bunch of cool different blades, including the replaceable utility blade version. Milwaukee Fastback used to open up multitude of boxes and bags. Dalka K390, is that Delica? K390, used for cutting bags and boxes. Very nice. Very nice. K390 is a great steel, I hear. Part 2, Swiss Army knife Huntsman scissors. I love the scissors on Swiss Army knives. Used to cut floor paper and food bags. Clone Rat 1 used to cut some plastic and for undoing zip ties without cutting them. Interesting. I wonder who made that clone. Someone used to make the Rat 1 clone. San Renmu, maybe. Part 3 from Max the Maker. Pararun 2 torch, tall magnet used as a hardware trash bag holding the light, was also used for lighting. Oh, I got you. It's got a magnet on it that you were able to use to hold down trash bags and stuff, to hold them open, presumably. Tactile turn fairway. I do like the tactile turn pens. Field Notes and Casio Royale, all used in normal ways. That's good to know. Casio Royale, I presume, is a watch. That sounds nice. Izzy, good to have you here, Izzy Joseph. Little late, evening all. Great to have you here, sir. I was just about to show off something cool. Edgy American. Shaman. Ah, Shane's a hippie. Shaman. Shaman. I say shaman. Hey, I'm from Cleveland. I say shaman. Kevin Moore says, "What's happening, Jim, Bob, and Junkies?" Kevin Moore, good to have you here, sir. Hoping everyone is grand this evening. We are grand. I love that EDC case you've been showing off. Shaman. Okay. So now they say once could be a fluke, twice could be coincidence, three times it's a pattern. If a third person says shaman, then I have to start saying shaman, because it's kind of like after three people are served, you can start eating dinner. It's that kind of thing. Manny Z, good to have you here, Manny. Hey, Bob, Jim, I'm late. He says, hey, it's a party. You can't be late to the party. You just show up. Professor EDC says shaman. Origin is Spanish. Oh, here comes EDC, Professor EDC, with actual knowledge to shame my lack of research. Shaman origin is Spanish and is also written like that. So it would be shaman. He's not okay. All right. Shaman it is. Shaman. Well, you know what? These are important conversations. I now say tanto, because Dave corrected me. He said in Japanese they say tanto, so say tanto. So okay, tanto. Congrats, Bob and Jim, on 10K. Thank you, Manny Z. That happened right during this here broadcast, which is very cool, very exciting. This worked out great. Bob didn't even show up for his 5K celebration. What are you talking about? Didn't I? I can't even remember. It's a Gungan. Carried an Emerson Elvia. Good to have you here. It's a Gungan. Carried an Emerson Elvia and a Cold Steel Tough Light. Watch Seiko Marine Master. Very nice. My eyes have been wandering. My watch eyes have been wandering. I got to admit, I've been loving this Pagani. And I say, I have to admit, because it is a homage watch. It looks an awful lot exactly like a Rolex, what's it called? Air King, and I'm never going to spend $10,000-$15,000 on a watch. It's just not going to happen. So if I want to gaze at the beauty of this simple design, I can get a Japanese movement, Chinese made watch, and it's really nice. So I'm thinking about getting another one. And I got permission from Dirk Werning. Yeah, he says it's all good as a knife collector, or as a watch collector. So it's not like buying a clone, he says, in the knife world. Izzy Johnson says, I still need to get with you on that antler. Yes. GMT, a giant mouse. Wait. Mamushi. What am I looking at? GMT Mamushi Bob 100%. The antler, yes, for the black mule, but the second part, what does that mean? My brain's not putting it together. Aberdeen Blade says, anyone pick up a Beyond EDC Night Horse? That is cool. $30 of big fun. That is a Navaja, modernized Navaja, designed by Dirk Pinkerton. I know Dave has shown 3 of those off on his channel. Big Boar Knife and Gear, good to have you here. Hello, everyone, he says. Hello, Big Boar. Good to have you. I wanted to show you this. This is another war club. I was showing off this Wingard wearables thumper before. Well, just while I was visiting my parents over Thanksgiving break, I was reunited with this Zulu war club that my parents brought back from a trip to South Africa they took in 1983. So this was hanging in our TV. Well, it wasn't hanging. It was kind of leaning on a shelf in our TV room all growing up. And my brother and I, this was our go-to. If we heard a strange noise, my parents were out, we'd go get the war club. Or sometimes this sword right here. But this Zulu war club had a big part to do with my upbringing, my childhood. And it's a big solid piece of wood. It's like all one piece. And you can see how the center of whatever kind of wood this is dark. And then the outer pith is like a lighter color. And man, just a beautiful, heavy noggin knocker. And I'm so glad that it is no longer cracking up in my parents' attic, where it's received extreme heat and extreme cold over the last 15, 20 years. So glad to have it back where it belongs. So wanted to show that off. Have a Knife Day says the biome is a 50-50 Bowie clip point. Oh, binome. Oh, that one. Yes. Okay, that's a cool one. That was a design collaboration, right, with someone, and it's got a full micarta handle. That is a nice looking blade. More of that size Bowie knife needs to be made, I think. KF Boston, good to have you here, KF. What a blade. What's up, people? Oh, excuse me, sir. Well, a lot is up, and it's great to have you here with us. Never Enough Knives says, yes, it was from Amazon. Also, the Formax Scout there was perfect. Easy exchange at least. Yeah, so that has happened to me a number of times. That happened most recently for me with this. I got the Taipan on Amazon, and the grind was all jacked up, and I'm like, man. Okay, so I'm going to hold this up in front of the black. Okay, you see the ricasso, how it comes up straight and then it veers out where the grind is and over here. Well, this was ground to the point where the ricasso and the cutting edge were flush. So like some dude was sharpening the knife and he got a call from his girlfriend. He's like, oh, what? And he looks at his phone. Oh. And then he turns it over and he grinds off like a good portion of the cutting edge. And then they put it in a box, and it's not one of the ones that gets looked at, by QC, and it's sent out. And it ends up on Amazon, or someone did see it and they're like, send that one to Amazon. No one will care. No one will notice. And if they do, it'll be too late. I think that's how it happens. Mike Flamian says, I've been carrying a Medford Emperor fixed Praetorian. I like that. But I'm going back to the Model 14. It felt strange to me. I was just eyeing up. I was like, oh, wait, what is the difference between the 14 and the 16 Special Fighter? And, there are a good number of differences, but I love the big, broad shape of the Bowie of the 14, of the Model 14. That is a cool knife. And I can't remember. I think you have the Border Patrol handle configuration. I can't remember, though. Colin, good to have you here. Colin Maison Pierre of CM Designs. Good to have you here with us, sir. Colin and also works with Lefty Kev Johnson, and they are Devo Knives together. He is CM Knife Design on his own, and man, killing it with the lockback. Man, that is a cool knife. And dag nabbit, the name is escaping me now, but a revolutionized ball bearing, adding a ball bearing into the lockback. What's it called? Now I'm thinking of all your Devo names. Honeybear85 says Shamalama Ding Dong. One of 87 correct pronunciations. Yes, exactly. Shane, what are you doing, Shane? You skipped Thursday Night Knives Week. You hit 5K holiday. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. Well, it happens. I frequently I find that I don't pay attention to that because I don't want it to become a motivator. But now maybe I'll allow it to become a motivator. So for you, Shane, for you, good sir, you get for your salutation. Let me put these war clubs away. Oh, I have two really cool exotic weapons to show you in a second. But for you, sir, and I'm going to show it in its full package, full dress. I'm going to salute you with my very, very awesome, favorite, lovely knife. This is the Hogtooth Knives made Bob Loveless style sub-hilt fighter. I love this thing, and to me, this This is about as American as it gets. It's made by a friend of mine, now friend of mine, Matt Chase of Hogtooth Knives up in Massachusetts in the mountains. The the guards are made by reclaimed wrought iron from the Longfellow Bridge in Boston. When they were fixing it, a friend of his was an iron worker and took some iron. This is a stag handle that was a real labor to put together, but I was there when he bought that stag at Blade Show, and then this beautiful steel. It's 5160 and 1095, or no, 15N20 and 1095. Two American steels. So this is about as American as it gets, and that's what I think of when I think of Shane, because I know that I know he's a proud American, but he has also put some effort into making his knife collection as American as possible. You know, we all are swimming in the same waters, but he has put some extra effort into making his collection as American as possible, and I admire that. So, for you, sir, Shane, this is for you. Mm-mm-mm. I love that loveless sub-hilt goodness. That is for you, sir. Thank you very much, Shane. And thank you for everything you do for the knife community. You all know Shane. He's the guy who put together Knives Live 2021 and 2022 with the help of John Evans and Kev. But top notch guy. What do they say? Top flight. He's top flight. I'm going to start talking in that mid-Atlantic accent that they spoke in. Cary Grant. Cary Grant. He spoke kind of in that mid-Atlantic accent. It's like it takes like all American accents and kind of mashes them together. My war club says Louisville Slugger. I love it. Yes. Yes, isn't that great that the great American pastime involves one of the greatest weapons of all time, incidental weapons of all time? We have one gnarly old bat that my wife brought into the relationship that I don't know. It looks like it had some experience long before she had it, and that's it does duty by one of our doors. You know what you do with that is when someone breaks the window and they're reaching in, you take it and you smash the hand. And hopefully they don't come in. Never Enough Knives 007 says, I have an olive wood knob carry war club a friend brought back from South Africa. That sounds really cool. Olive wood. Olive wood is also just beautiful. The Binome was a collaboration with Volwest. Volwest. Okay, yeah, I remember that was a collaboration with someone. Been rocking the trusty Native 5 as per usual, says Colin. Colin loves small knives, designs small knives. The Native 5, that is a robust small knife with that backlock. A love of backlocks. The difference between the 14 and the 16 fighter is just 2. Yes, that's right. That's right. I should know that. But like I said, man, yeah. I won't even go into the best tectonic. Thank you, Colin. Sorry, I had a senior moment trying to remember that. Best Tech, my favorite OEM. I do love and respect Riot, but I just have so many more knives by Best Tech and OEM'd Best Tech knives. I just think their stuff is awesome. My latest Best Tech obsession has been the Resco Instruments. It really feels like an last generation American made washer knife, and they killed it. 5-door estate. Good to have you, 5-door. And Devo is going to do a USA made. Yes, that's right. And if I'm not mistaken, Colin, that is at least in your hands and Kevin's hands, right? If not for sale at this point. And wow, beautiful it is. Hungry Bird, good to have you here, Hungry Bird. Always a pleasure. Good evening, all, he says. Well, good evening to you, sir. Look at that. That's cool. I finally gave this a place of honor. It used to be on the wall behind me. It got usurped by, I think, this K-bar here, and it had to go back up somewhere, and I like that you can still see it. Anyway, breaking the fourth wall there with the tomahawk. Um, Not just Bowie. Okay, so let me show you. Let me show you now something exotic, something exotique. All right. So as you know, went home for Thanksgiving. Uh, Home is not the home I grew up in. My parents moved since I moved out, but they brought some stuff, and it was in the attic. Uh, Oh, but neither of these are that. So my parents love to do some traveling. They went to Saudi Arabia, and as usual, they brought me back a knife. So check this out. So yeah, I think my parents are trying to collect as many countries as possible before the inevitable, and I really respect that. They're living an adventurous life, and I think that's cool. But they got me this Jambia or Jambia. I'm not sure how it's pronounced in Saudi Arabia. And my dad did a little bit of research and kind of found where the best place to get real Jambias are, and found this place. And this was in a market there, and sort of in a back area where there were some swords and knives. And the interesting thing is this is an aftermarket belt. This belt was kind of fixed after the fact with, and the person who did it did a great job with leather and straps and a little bit of twine and stuff. I haven't taken the price tag off. I kind of want to leave it on. But this belt is lined with velvet, and it smells like incense because it's probably spent 50 or 60 years in a room with incense. So this smells really nice, and it's a pretty large example. I'll pull this out here. It's double-edged and wood, and I think, I don't know, I haven't done the research yet. I'm going to come over to the big camera here. I think that this knife is a weapon first, as opposed to, this is pretty large. I have another Jambia from Oman, and it's a smaller size, just slightly different. But I think that this was used as a weapon. It's not very decorated. It's not very ornate. And it seems like at one point it was a very serviceable weapon. Right now, it's slightly loose in the hilt, this blade, but it's double-edged. And it, I don't know. I would love to know the history of all of these old knives I have. I would love to know who carried this, what they used it for, kind of what, and then what happened after its original owner was gone and not in need of it, and what it's, I think they had a movie called The Red Violin that did something like that with a violin, where you saw kind of the life that object lived. I think that would be cool to do with these kind of knives. So this is one for the wall. I'm not sure how or where. This is a very small room I'm in, and I'm running out of wall space. But just a beautiful example of a large Saudi Arabian Jambia. And then I'll show you this other thing in a minute. Bob, I dipped my toe into tomahawks, got the cold steel trench hawk. That is cool. I want to get the trench hawk. How do you like it? How do you like it, Shane? I mean, tomahawks are fun and cool. Thanks, Bob. Let's see. Colin says, thanks, Bob. We have the prototypes for the USA Growler from M3 Tactical, the OEM. Oh, cool. Probably going to be a pre-order in January. They look beautiful. The inlays look really nice. The Growler is one that you loaned to me generously. I had the Growler in just flat slab micarta handles, and it was awesome. I love that knife. I love the design, and I love the deceptively innocent looking blade. I discovered that that's actually quite a wicked clip point blade when it really comes down to it. Five Door Estate says, bet nobody complained of hot spots on that Jambia. Yeah, no kidding. You're right. Exactly. This hurts my hands, like in everyday use, like when I'm doing fine work. What fine work are you talking about? Brandon Sutton says, Shane, the hawk rabbit hole is about as bad as the sword rabbit hole. Yes, I'm guessing it is. I've kept it pretty cool with my Elmer Roosh and Wingard wearables. But that is a trouble. That is trouble waiting to happen. So my brother got me a barong. So this is just like the barong that's already on the wall. Very, very similar examples. This is from the Moros down in the southern part of the Philippines. The Moros are fundamentalist Muslims, very, very hardcore fighters, and have the coolest blades. The Philippines, as you know, is just replete with blade designs. I like the Moro blades the best. This Moro barong is very unique. I've never seen anything like this. But look at this sort of cage that has been created with wire around the ferrule. That's the metal cup part that the rest of the handle fits into. It is creating a real mechanical connection here because the way these are set into the hilt, the tang of this blade is hot, and then it's burned into the wooden handle, but also there is some sort of tree sap glue in there, and then also the pressure of the ferrule, this metal piece around there, all holds that in together traditionally. But on this one, someone has braided all of this together, wrapped it all together, even around the blade, so that the handle is attached to the blade and to itself. So this wood is attached to the ferrule, is attached to the handle, all in the traditional way, but also all with this outer mechanical connection through this wire web here. It is so damn cool. And I've never seen that before. And also, it feels great in hand. It gives you really awesome grip. This does. All of this intricate carving is still there, which is pretty rare for, World War II GI bring back examples or any examples. I mean, these things go through a lot because they get handed down through the families. They're used as weapons primarily, but also can be used as tools. Look at the fine carving in this beautiful wood here. And then the mother of pearl inlays. Now I have saran wrap wrapping around it because it's got this grass sort of twining that goes around it to hold the sheath together. And I have to put some finish on it and to hold it down like I did on my last one, so that I could travel with it and it wouldn't unravel. I did that. But check out the blade. The blade I just cleaned up today. It is pretty far gone with rust. Oh yeah, that edge is all chewed up with rust, and also looks like at some point along the way someone hit this edge of this sword against some other sword and really dinged it up. Now I think that was probably kids, American kids sometime in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, or up until whenever this was sold to an antique store where my brother got this. I think it was kids playing. I don't think in combat people were hitting edge against edge. I think they were not engaging that way with these. I think they were running through crowds of GIs, cutting people and doing that kind of thing. I don't think they were going sword to sword. Anyway, this blade is now just a piece of history and a medium for holding that beautiful handle. I mean, it's a reason for having that beautiful handle. You're not going to be using the blade for anything else, but I look forward to hanging this on the wall next to my other Moro barong. Like I said, I got the best brother in the world, and he gives the greatest gifts. Jeez, man. We've really trained one another to get each other what we like. Shane says, Bob, it's a lot of fun for $40, even though I have zero need for it My trees hate me now. Oh yeah. Well, okay, so the table I'm using now is this really nice big solid table. But for years, you may have noticed anytime I gestured or did anything, everything shook. Well, I took that table, which I made in Philadelphia in 95 or something. I took that table, took the tabletop, and I'm turning that into a throwing target because the throwing target I made years ago, I did not do right. So this is soft wood, and I'm going to start doing what you're doing, Shane, and throwing everything at it. Big Bore Knife and Gear says, Bob, is it just me or is the Best Tech OEM stuff better than the Best Tech branded stuff? Yes, it is not just you. That is true. Well, oh, wait. I shouldn't say that because I have only experienced the budget Best Tech stuff that isn't OEM. I've loved it all, actually. I gave the room, what was it called? The Katana, which was an early Best Tech. I gave that to a friend of mine who just destroyed it. He destroys everything, and he destroyed that knife. But yeah, I like Best Tech OEM stuff best, personally. But I have, I do know that they do like Combus, the high end, the Maison Pierre, Collins knife is high end, so they have a whole high end line under their shingle. Izzy, thank you, Izzy. I promise you some antler and a fixed blade you could keep. What? Gross Motor Gear. Oh, their stuff is cool. The Mamushi. If you haven't checked them out, you def should. I just started. I thought, what a great name for a company that makes Pikal style knives to call it Gross Motor Gear. That is awesome. All right, so let's see. Alrighty. I think I'm gonna shift. Where is it? Shift gears here. Oh, I thought I had. All right. There you go. All righty, sir. This one's for you. This is the Espada XL I was carrying today. And something I discovered about the Espada XL, I'll show right now, is that if you look, the Espada XL and the Natchez Bowie are the same exact overall length. Same exact overall length. All right. I'm going to put these down here. And trust me, they don't both fit, but they're both the same exact overall length. But if you fold the Espada, look at the size savings. That's why I carried this today. I really wanted to carry a Bowie today, but I knew I had to exercise some discipline and that there's no way I could. So folding this almost by half reduces it in size, just further impressing me with this. I love the Espada. I would love to get, here is a grail knife. I would love to get a Miguel Barbudo. Look him up if you don't know him. He's a Spanish knife maker. But I would love to get a Miguel Barbudo Navaja. Oh my God. They are so beautiful. But until I can get that, this will have to do the trick. Izzy, thank you so much for that super chat, sir. This one's for you. Oh, yeah. Don't forget about the Espada XL, ladies and gentlemen. You can have this in your bag and have a knife the size of a giant Bowie in your hand with serious standoff range capability. And, if you need a machete for whatever reason, there you got it. Byron says, Christmas list for Santa, Work Tough Gear Nomad 10-inch camp knife, Nomad EDC, which is Scab's favorite EDC fixed blade, the Wilson SK85, the Spartan Harsey folder, Spartan Harsey defense. I'd love to have that. But I'm getting the Kingsford 10 10-pound bag. Is that the charcoal? What are you Oh, come on, Byron. I hope you get more than that. Shane says, all I want for Christmas is the 15V Mannix. All right. What is 15V? Is it is it super tough? Is it like 3V times 5? Triple B is a cool bear for sure. Triple B is a cool bear for sure. I'm not sure I know what that means. CPM says, all I want for Christmas is for bench. What? Oh, CPM. I know you to say inflammatory things from time to time, but all I want for Christmas is for Benchmade to go out of business. So you actively want Benchmade to go out of business. Waste. Are you saying they're a waste of S90V? Well, CPM, I do applaud your whatchamacallit. Well, you're going against the grain with Benchmade. I feel similarly, not in that I want them to go out of business. I don't want any American businesses to go out of business, but they don't do it for me. But I like that they do get people. They're a great gateway knife company. A lot of law enforcement go for the Benchmades because that's what they're told by other cops and other law enforcement are the best knives. And so they all have those, but then they start, Microtech, what's this? And so you can, so let's keep Benchmade around and let them be that gateway. What'd you just have up there, Jim? I think it was about 15V, which is ridiculous. I'm just kidding. BBB did the 50. Okay. Is it Big Brown Bear? The 15V heat treat on the Mannix. Is that what it is? BBB? That 15V. Okay. Benchmade is probably one of the most well-known medium-range knife manufacturers out there. Gateway drug, basically. Yeah, exactly, sir. Great minds think alike. Big Brown Bear, Sean, heat treat freak. Okay. All right. I need to talk to this Big Brown Bear. Speaking of Benchmade, good Lord, the new price hikes. The premium version bug out is almost as much as some customs. Yeah, well, you can never, what do they say? You can't account for taste. And so some people, who was just saying they were carrying their gold class Osborne, there are just some designs that get under your skin. For me, I'm going through a big cold steel phase that was brought on by the big Bowie phase, but like cold steel, in their pre-GSM days, I'm going to put that out there, and with what they've carried on since, really excited. I just love everything they do. I just really do. Almost everything. Here, I'm like, why don't I have all of their push daggers? Because you don't need them, Bob. Yes, I do. What is need? Define need. What is? I mean, we could do the Bill Clinton thing and really confuse the issue so I can just do whatever I want. So what do I want for Christmas? Well, I don't know. Maybe I want a Shining Mountain Bowie and Stag. Brandon Sutton says, yes, I've seen the prices for Benchmade at Cabela's, and my shit about hit the floor. Oh my gosh. You know what? I haven't, like I said, I live in this very domesticated area, but I was just at 511 today and they sell Benchmade, but there are a bunch of guys hanging out right in front of the Benchmades. So I didn't feel like turning it on. I didn't have my card. Usually I'm in there. I'm like, hey, you like knives? And I give my card, but I didn't feel like it. Thiz Lamek. Good to have you here, Thiz Lamek. Thiz Lamek. Good to have you here, sir. Just finished dyeing the scales on my damn designs Wendigo. Whew, buddy. So what color, man? Don't leave us on tenterhooks. And the Wendigo, damn designs, man. Cool stuff from Damn Designs always. Let us know what color you dyed that. I've been thinking of dyeing because I've seen I'm thinking about dyeing some scales, some G10 scales, because I've seen KC. I watched a video KC did. I think it was just a short, but he dyed some scales of the Jade G10 pinion, and it looked so brilliant, so good. Big Boris says, yeah, but $280 for a bug out or bailout. Get out of here. I'm with you. Get out of here. You know, even if it is titanium and high-end steel, really, you know, probably it isn't. Benchmade redoubting their ability to make new knives. That is a problem. I mean, if I cared, I would say Benchmade, you kind of make the same knife over and over again. And one might argue that Spyderco does that too, but they also do other stuff. They do so much stuff that all of their kind of repeated looks, it's like an internal logic. They're designing everything within an internal logic. And so it seems like there's variety, even though it's just a lot of weird looking humpback blades with holes. You know, purple, I let my daughter pick the color. I actually really like it. Well, that's cool on a couple of levels. First of all, that you let your daughter pick that color is cool. And it's nice to have that influence and to have that memory built into the blade. But also purple, royal and holy. Purple's a great color. I got it right here. Though I've yet to have a purple knife that I could live with. Saying that as someone who frequently says purple is his favorite color. Now, actually, purple is not my favorite color. Blue is my favorite color to look at. Blue is what my eyes like the best. Purple is what my mind likes the best because of that holy thing. Here's another one of my coveted. Here's one that people frequently ask if they could buy. This is the Recon 1 XL Tonto in XHP steel and hollow grind. I don't know. I guess I got into Jimmy Slash right at the right moment, and he was showing off his. And this was right as they were becoming unavailable. And I was able to get this and the clip point. And man, I'm glad I have this knife. But I got this and I sold my Voyager Tonto because I'm like, oh, now I have the large Tonto thing covered. And I was so stupid because now I want that back and I'm going to buy it back. I gave it to a friend and I work with him and I'm not going to ask for it back, even though I know he doesn't carry it or use it. And I gave my clip point Voyager XL. When I got the clip point version of this, I gave that to a friend who I know. It's still sitting in the box. And I'm just like, I could steal it from his house and he'd never notice. But I can't do that. That's what a junkie would do. And though that is what I call myself, I am above that. Can't even believe I just said it out loud. Outstanding. My favorite color is Cold Steel DLC. Yeah, that is nice. Well, interestingly, same year, this and my clip point, but the clip point has a very dull, very matte colored DLC, and it also looks cool. Yes, big knife energy. Yeah, I love this thing. And Yokote energy. That's what they call this secondary tip, the Yokote. And it's like chicote, which means belt, which my wife has a mixed memories about that word. But yeah, Lynn Thompson of Cold Steel emphasizes the Yokote, the secondary tip, as a percussive tip. So like you use he suggests using the Tonto in a sort of percussive drumstick like way, not exclusively, but as part of your knife play, thinking that you can be percussive with that tip. And really, I mean, I don't know if you've ever flicked an Americanized Tonto like this at anything, but you can make a really gnarly, deep cut just going like that. Just so anyway, they basically had leftover shit, and they say, "Hey, let's make a bad knife and see if people will buy it." Fair enough. I mean, I can't disagree with that. Not that I would necessarily agree with it wholeheartedly, but it kind of seems like that. Or they're just not out to necessarily please knife nuts, but they're out to please, you know, their more typical end user. I don't know. Five Door State says, y'all act like there's not a big premium market for big dumb plastic dimpled grip. Redoubtless. Wait. Y'all act like there's not a big premium market for a big dumb plastic dimpled grip. What are we talking about? I love big dumb plastic dimpled grips. I have a feeling this is something that a bit of the chat I'm unaware of. Shane says, anyone that would drop the super free. Oh. I see what you're talking about. I got it. Shane says, anyone that would drop the super freak and release the redoubt needs a kick in the nuts. A good point. A good point. The super freak was an awesome knife and a moneymaker. We got ourselves a moneymaker, Charlie. Charlie, it's a moneymaker. I mean, that's what I think. But who am I? I want that XL Recon 1, says Dion Page. Yeah. One thing I would like to do is fix that. You know, they grind it right up to there because they don't. I guess they put the thumb stud on first, and they grind right up to there, which is annoyingly close to the sharpening notch. But anyway, Have a Knife Day says, I'd like to see larger fixed blades from both Benchmade and Spyderco. I have the discontinued Benchmade. Oh, Arvensis. I never knew how to pronounce it. Arvensis, and I really dig it. Well, that is a beautiful knife. It's designed by Shane Sibbert, and everything he designs and builds, oh my God, his custom knives, they're just beautiful. And that Arvensis was and is a gorgeous clip point field knife, combat knife type thing. And I would love to have that. EDC and Lace, good to have you here. Lacey Lace, how you doing, babes? She says, we're doing great. How you doing? We're looking at big old knives here. Super Freak, in my humble opinion, was Benchmade's best design. So I'm guessing everyone likes the Super Freak better than the Freak due to the fact that it didn't have the rubberized handle, right? Super Freak is the red and gray, or the gray and the black G10 with the red standoffs and such. It doesn't grip the pocket. Dion Page says, I cut a bigger sharpening choil and put a belly on my Recon 1 Tanto. Okay, Tanto. Interesting. Yeah, I did. So my Recon 1 regular size Tanto that got stolen out of my car, I did that with. I made a big sharpening choil. It looked cool and it worked really well. What was the other? Oh, and you put a belly on it. That is one thing that I always liked better about the Voyager Tanto, was that the Voyager Tanto has a belly, whereas that has a very, very subtle belly, effectively a straight edge. Now that I'm a little bit older, I like the straight edge too. But for a long time, I really preferred the Voyager because it looked more like a katana, with that upward curve. Josh Worth, good to have you here, Josh. He's giving me the old okay sign. I don't care what anyone says. It's the okay sign. It always has been until 15 minutes ago when someone decided it was something nefarious. Hey, weirdos. Hey, Kyle. Good to have another weirdo with us. Kyle Coonley. I'm presuming that's how you pronounce it. It's good to have you here with us, man. And yes, we are weird. Also, Super Freak is in M4. Oh, yes, of course, in M4. And say what you will about Benchmade, as we have, but my M4 Contigo was so fine, so very fine. That was a really, really good knife. the grip wasn't 100% me, but what a good knife that was, and beautiful to look at too. A couple things before we wrap. I want to see if anyone cares about the well, I know you'll care about one of them. But the first one is the Burnley Squid 2 is now in a non-limited release from CRKT. So the Squid is a Burnley design, Lucas Burnley, who has made so much money for Boker, for instance, with the Quaken. Anyway, the Squid is a really cool design that has always been very popular with CRKT. Well, they came out with the Squid 2, and they've come out with 3 iterations of it. This is the third, where they dressed it up and gave it better construction, better materials. This one is made from an Italian OEM, so with all that implies, it has a crown spine. It has M390, no, not N690, but M390. It's all Bowler, so I mean, it's all coming from the same place. I'm surprised that we see so much N690 and not as much M390 from European designed and made knives. But anyway, an Italian OEM. I love the way this thing looks. I got to say, for a 2.6-inch blade, I do like that stubby, big spear point blade, and the G10, the Contour G10. I like this thing. And so the other special iterations of the Squid 2 were limited edition. This is now going to be a permanent thing, and I think that's a good thing. I think CRKT, my God, is it high time they did stuff like this? They need to do a lot more, because they've always had the guts and the forethought to put out unique designs by unique knife makers and designers, but they've always, rendered them in second-rate materials. So they need to do more of this. And if they got to go to Italy to do it, to class it up, I'm all for it. All right, last up in Knife Life news, our good friends over at the Finch Knife Company have another knife out, and I have lost track. My Finch flock is about 8 or 9 knives, and they have way surpassed what I have. They must have at least double that at this point. And they're made by QSP, and they're all cool, and they're all evocative of traditional knives. And this one is no different. This is a Wharncliffe. I mean, it is different because of the 3-inch, really acutely pointed Wharncliffe blade, cool looking blade, and it's in one of 2 form factors that are common with the Finch knives. They're either, they're either liner lock knives with full micarta or G10 handle scales, or they are bolster locks like this. In some cases, like with the Buffalo Tooth, in titanium, and sometimes in steel, mostly in steel, with handle covers. But they all have that Finch logo on them, that shield. I'm glad they never got rid of that. A couple of buzz kills out there were like, oh, it would be a great knife. I'd buy it if you didn't have that stupid shield on it. And I'm so glad that they stuck to their guns and they put that stupid shield on everything. I think it looks great. And of course, Steve of Finch Knives, one of 2, Steve and Spencer. Steve has a company called Raven Watch Company, so that luminescent badge is a sort of tip of the hat to their other business interest, that watch company. So I love the Finch Knives, and I would love to get this, but I would also love to get all the other Finch knives I don't have. But for sure, the soft spot in my heart for the Wharncliffe is touched by this, though I do have the Holiday, which has a fully flat ground Wharncliffe, which I think probably serves my purposes better than a saber ground Wharncliffe. What do you think? I don't know. Are you going to get this Finch knife? I know a lot of people are. They do make some really cool stuff. This one is going to be in that blue swirl, a type of wood that I can't pronounce, and then I can't remember what the third thing was. But rest assured, it's something. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So, any last thoughts? Let me know. Shane says my M4 Contigo is a forever knife, not going anywhere. I know that's one of your favorites. That is one of your favorites. That double finger choil up front always kind of vexed me a little bit. I think maybe my hands were just kind of never exactly the right size. And if my brother were here, he'd say, "Yeah, you mean like the manly size?" And then we'd get in some sort of a uh, verbal altercation. That shield, I'd kill. That shield is killer when it glows, no doubt. It is. It is pretty awesome. Um. All right. Let us see. All right. Professor EDC says, "Have you seen the Jack Wolf Knives Viper Warncliffe?" I have. I have seen it, and I know you have seen it. It is incoming, and I am looking forward to checking mine out for sure. So that is a Warncliffe, pretty pointy Warncliffe coming in with a nice rounded off handle. I am looking forward to that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's going to do it for this edition of Thursday Night Knives. And I want to show off this super cool new t-shirt that Jim designed. He's been a busy beaver, and he has designed a couple of other t-shirts too. You can check them out on our store, but I love this one. I love snow and knives. Perfect for the season, perfect for the holiday coming up. I was telling Jim that I have heard that his "Don't Take Dull for an Answer" t-shirts have become very popular. I heard that they were someone was wearing them at Blade Show West and got a lot of compliments. And I was also saying that coincidentally, my brother was wearing his "Don't Take Dull for an Answer" t-shirt uh, over Thanksgiving during his emergency hospital stay. So that was uplifting to see. I'm like, "I'm sorry you're in pain, but at least you wore the right t-shirt," is what I said. He thought it was hilarious. He really liked it when I said that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for coming, and thank you so much for the conversation. It has lifted my spirits and put wind in my sails to carry me all the way to Sunday for our next great interview show. Be sure to watch that and join us next Wednesday for the midweek supplemental, and then that will bring us all the way right back around to next Thursday for Thursday Night Knives. Thank you, one and all, for watching and being a part of this, and for watching the videos and the shorts and the interviews. It is greatly appreciated. I love you all, one and all. I will talk to you soon. So for Jim working his magic behind the switcher, I'm Bob DeMarco saying until next time, don't take dull for an answer.